It's a story that is attributed to 6th century India. And the comments that I'm going to read are from Christina Feldman, who's pretty well known. She's has been involved, I think, in Gaia House in the development of practice in England. And I believe it's from Tibetan lineage. But so the story is Kisa Gotami's mustard seed. So I think this may sound familiar, but anyway, here's the whole text of the story, and then I'll tell you when we're going into the commentary. Kisa Gotama came from a poor family, but the son of a wealthy family loved her and married her. Her in-laws treated her unkindly because of her background, but when she gave birth to a son, they finally respected her. So here we have patriarchy writ large. Then when the child was a toddler, he died. And Kisa Gotami went mad with grief. She carried the dead child from house to house, begging for medicine to make him well, and everyone sent her away, saying, "The child is dead. No medicine can help him." At last, a kind man directed her to the Buddha. So this story is from 6th century, but ostensibly took place during the lifetime of Buddha. The Buddha said, "I will give you the medicine to revive your child if you bring me a mustard seed from a house where no one has died." With renewed hope, Kisa Gotami went forth to get the mustard seed, but at every house she learned that someone had died. And so still carrying her child's body in her arms, she returned to the Buddha. "Did you bring me a mustard seed?" he asked her. "I thought that death had happened only to my little son, but now I understand that it happens to everyone. Impermanence is the universal law." She buried her child in the forest and returned to the Buddha to receive ordination. And actually, I was just having a conversation with somebody last night about whether, in fact, at what point the Buddha offered ordination to women, which was not in the very beginning. And we actually talked about that during Sesshin, that it was only when his cousin Ananda and his very close disciple implored him over and over again to, he said, there's no difference in the essential nature of women, men, anybody, and everything in between in terms of identity. There's no difference. But he said it will complicate the relationships within the community to ordain women. And that's what his resistance was. And he finally said yes. So Kisa Gotama goes on to live with her experience of grief. She buries the body in the forest, but I can't imagine she buries her grief in the forest. And I think I haven't gotten into Christina's commentary yet. It says her reflection. But I think what I was so moved in thinking about this, and I feel kind of emotion coming up about it, what I felt so moved thinking about it through the week is this is our human commonality. And her feeling like this only happened to me. I think many of us can relate to the experience of the isolation, of grief, of feeling like this experience is, I'm so alone with it. And really all the Buddha did was said, it's not even emphasizing the reality of the principle of impermanence. So it's the principle, it's the reality of life. I don't think that's even so much, in a way, what the story is saying. It's just saying we have so much in common in our human experience. And many of us know Kosei, Diana Hartel, and she shared with us in the last few days that her mom had passed. Amazing amount of effort. You know, she left Sweetwater almost a year ago to go be up in Oregon. I mean, Kosei's in her mid-70s, so her mom had to be in at least her mid-90s, maybe even late 90s. And Kosei left her own life at the center to go and devote herself to taking care of her mom and sort of being the lead matriarch at that point in her family. And then shared with us that she was in her final days, and then that she passed, I think, yesterday, the day before. And I don't know about any of you having gotten those messages from her, but it definitely brought up for me when my mom was passing. And some of you are hopefully too young to have had that happen. But we all experience grief and loss in this life. And the idea that we can actually open up to that as a common experience, as opposed to feeling so bereft that we're completely alone with it. And, you know, I think for many of us, and most of you know, I am a mother, 2 children, 2 adult, wonderful adult people. And as a mother, basically it's pretty much the worst thing that you can imagine happening. So her grief at the loss of her son is almost incomprehensible if we haven't been through it. But her being able to see that even in that worst possible thing that we feel could happen to us, we're not alone. This is an aspect of the human experience, is death and loss. And if anything, it implores us to appreciate the life we have and the people we have and the experiences we have now, because they will change. And one of the basic things the Buddha said was, you know, in terms of suffering, suffering is caused by clinging to things we can't hold on to and trying to push away the things that we wish we didn't have to deal with. And that is basic to our human experience. So here's some things that Christina had to say. Kisa Gotami's story is the story of every mother who loses a child, the story of every human who knows in their heart that to love, cherish, and care for another is to risk heartache and loss. As women, we hold in our lives a timeless human dilemma: to know how to love wholeheartedly and deeply, and to know how to lose that which we love with wisdom and compassion. The Buddha did not admonish Kisa Gotami for her grief and distress, nor did he lecture her on the inarguable laws of impermanence. Instead, he sent her into the village to find even one person who did not know the barren landscape of grief, the deep painfulness of being separated from those one holds dear. Every home she went to, every person she spoke to, only revealed to her how vast is the landscape of loss. And, you know, this obviously, in the dedication to the Gate of Sweet Nectar, we dedicate it to uh, the damage caused by racial inequity and warfare, and specifically of of uh, loss of life caused by our own government. Each of us holds within us a personal story and a universal story. This is so important. Each of us holds our personal story in some ways in the context of the universal story. Like they say that the personal and political are the same. Our personal story, born of all that we have experienced and felt in this life, is unique to us. Our families, our joys and sorrows, our values, aspirations, and hopes, our disappointments, the countless events of our lives have shaped who we are and how we see in ways that no single other human being can know. But when we understand that our personal story holds within it the universal story of all human beings, then we have the radical possibility of dissolving the boundaries of I and you and us and them. That is the center of our practice. Dissolving those boundaries, but not, that's the relative and absolute. Recognizing the particular, recognizing the specificity of our own manifestations, recognizing the power and beauty of our own manifestations, but within the context of dissolving the boundaries of I and you and us and them. Kisa Gautama's realization that all mothers could experience just the same pain as she experienced did not necessarily diminish her grief, but she came to understand she was not alone. She began to accept that which had felt so deeply unacceptable. By acknowledging this, she embarked upon a path of seeking an unshakable inner freedom. What is that unshakable inner freedom? Its ability to be with our lives as they are, to be completely friggin' shaken, and to be able to stay with it and see the boundlessness of who we really are. So this is, I'll just read the last bit she has here. Loss, death, and separation reveal to us so poignantly that as long as we are misaligned with this core truth of impermanence, we will live in a state of argument with our lives. I don't want it to be this way. To embrace the truth of impermanence wholeheartedly, deeply, and unshakably will not save us from grief, but will perhaps teach us to embrace the moments of deepest pain in our lives without dispute. I would add, it will teach us to embrace the deepest moments of our lives with gratitude and appreciation and joy. I do not imagine that Kisa Gautama's embracing of Anand's life meant an end to her grieving. The memory of her son must have lived on in her heart and very bones, but perhaps the pain could be borne. I was sitting out, my son is visiting from overseas right now, and we were sitting out in the sun on the front porch of my house a couple days ago, and I was remembering with him that it would have been my father's 93rd birthday. who my son knew very well. And um, it was really so touching because he said to me, my kids called my dad Papa. He said, "What do you think the best way is to remember Papa right now? Or what is the best thing to acknowledge Papa's birthday?" And what I said in that moment is share our memories of him, which we did and had a really great conversation. But what I also thought about afterwards is the best way we could honor his life is to see his life in us. And some of the ways that we've been injured and how have we grown from that? How have we overcome that? And what are the blessings? What are the ways in which the lineage goes forward and evolves? The Buddhist teachings of impermanence and equanimity show us how to live in this world of uncertainty without being shattered. None of us can control the world of conditions that are intrinsically unstable. We can learn to cultivate an inner poise that allows us to be a conscious participant in this life without our hearts being held hostage to conditions. So I just want to read you who Christina Feldman is a guiding teacher at the Insight Meditation Society in Barre, Massachusetts. So she's part of a Vipassana lineage and co-founder of the Gaia House in England. So thank you, Christina, for her gorgeous commentary. And I guess I just want to kind of finish by saying that this is the beauty of Sangha and community. And without getting political about it, I think that we're experiencing a time in which the power of community is more important than ever. And the power of our seeing our common humanity. And the beautiful story from the life of the Buddha and Kisugotama.